All right, this week we had a doctor here, actually in Great Britain. He was fired basically for refusing to call a transgender person by their opposite gender. He was quoted as saying, I'm not going to call a big 6 foot, 4 guy, ma'am. It's against my religious beliefs, and we see this is getting really absurd. I mean, they're in our places of work now, and anywhere you go, it seems, if you don't play by their rules and play the game, you're persecuted for that. I mean, I guess I can't help but think of Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 5. It says, "The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord thy God." So when you're forcing people to call somebody by a false gender, number one, you're making them lie. You're making them play this pretend game, and this is madness that's going on. And you're also forcing them to recognize something that is an abomination. You're forcing them to say, this is acceptable when God says it's an abomination. And this is getting kind of scary. It's we're going to find out in our study here today that we're going to go through this period of tribulation, and only those who overcome through the tribulation, whether it's in your daily life or you're being tested or the great tribulation, if you don't overcome through that, there's not a good ending. We have to be able to endure this kind of persecution, and we have to be able to say no when the government tries to force us to adhere to something that is against God's law. Romans chapter 1, many of you probably know about that. I mean, when I read this article, I couldn't help but think about how ridiculous this was. And Romans chapter 1 says in verse 21, he says, "Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools." So, I mean, these people think they're really smart. Oh, yeah, we got gender equality and all this, and what do they call it? Gender neutrality or something like that. They think this is really smart. It's not even, number one, it's against science. They always accuse Christians of being against science. Well, there couldn't be any more of a blatant rebellion or denial of science than to say a girl is a boy and a boy is a girl. I mean, this is just getting crazy. That's why God says they profess themselves to be wise, but they're fools. They've gone mad. And they changed the glory of the incorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things. Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanliness through the lusts of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. In other words, that's what these people are trying to do. They're trying to change the truth of the God-given gender that you have and say you're something else. I know I was a biological female, but I identify as a man, or vice versa. It's madness, and to believe that somebody can actually lose their job because they won't go along with this madness is completely insane. But it was written about all along here, long ago. I'm just going to read a couple more verses and we'll close up this current event message here. But verse 26 of Romans 1, it says, "For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature." It's against nature. What is nature? Well, it's science. Okay? It's against science even. "And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, turned in their own lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly," it's disgusting, "and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet." One more verse. "And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over," now check this out, "God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. So God actually allowed their mind to become mad, to become insane, because they wanted to believe a lie. I mean, this has been foretold of long ago, and we've got to be able to endure and to be able to say no when they demand that we go along with this. Yeah, they think that we're ridiculous for believing the Bible, but they believe we came from monkeys, and they believe that men can change themselves into women. And women. I posted this on Facebook the other day. Weaponizing the word love. Liberals have twisted the true meaning of the word love and have weaponized it against Christians. Now when you're actually a lover, the world thinks you are a hater. Pretty simple but effective strategy. They paint the word love over many ungodly things over and over again until people become brainwashed into believing abominable things are righteous and righteous things are abominable. That's what we're seeing. It's a strategy, and it's working.
That's why I wondered, do you think the change has been it seems so fast to me that, it's only been the last 10 years or so. I know it's been going on, but now it's in the open.
Yeah.
Do you think that something's been released, some kind of evil thing, like not maybe the giants yet or anything, but something has happened?
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, it seems like a demonic, infiltration is what it seems like, because it's just
stupid on their own. They got to have help.
Right.
Well, just like that scripture you just read, that God actually then kind of gives up on their mind, basically, and says, okay, you want to be an idiot? You're an idiot.
Yeah. It
does seem like it has gone fast from like when we were kids. It was still like people were trying to hide it, and now it's not only is it celebrated, but if you speak out against it, then you're you lose your job for that. Like if I were to say something against that, I would be gone
instantly.
Yeah.
Right.
I think ultimately the homosexual thing is what their tool that they're already working on it, but they're going to use it to shut us up and get rid of free speech, because it's going to be hate speech, and
it already feels like that.
Yeah, but they're going to make it a law where if a church is talking about it, or you get caught talking about it, you can go to jail, or you get penalized,
or already some pastors are banned from certain countries, or we just heard of one last week. I think the guy's out of Tennessee or something, and he can't go to Cracker Barrel anymore. They banned him because of his speech on that. Because of how hard he preaches.
Sort of like the disciples, they had to meet in private after Jesus left.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they were hated.
Right. It definitely seems like we're moving towards those times where if you're going to be
we're going to have to hide, and
we are.
I meant.
That's why we're out.
That's why we're here.
Understand what I'm trying to say? It's getting to be that way. We're the minority now.
Right.
And boy. Get ready to hide about it, because they're going to come. Never mind.
I know we got to go back, but did you see the twins are having a special day now, and the hats they're giving away?
Pride.
Oh, wow.
And it's a rainbow
sad.
with the teeth.
America's game.
Yeah. Wow. Really? I hate it when they put it in sports.
Yeah. Pride. The pride hat.
They can push their
rainbow.
They can push their religion on us.
We can.
But we can't do it to them, because it's
a Christian day at the ballpark. Could you imagine?
This is
there would totally be would be not allowed.
Well, it really is a religion, because what they call hate speech is just really a different way of saying you're speaking blasphemy against our religious beliefs.
Right.
So when you hear the word hate speech, those are the new blasphemy laws. When the country was more Christian, you could be, I think there probably was some blasphemy laws. I know there were in the early colonies. But now, instead of blaspheming God, that's okay. But you cannot blaspheme the, you cannot.
Overcomers is brought to you by the tithes and offerings of our listeners. If you would like to support our ministry, please go to ChristianOvercomers.com. God bless you, and thank you for your support.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible sword. His truth is marching on.